John McCain decided to go after Rand Paul for being somewhat sensible on the issue of foreign policy, and naturally, he face-planted.
Senator John McCain was the first Republican, of course, to run against President Obama, and now he's a lapdog for President Obama? Look at this.
But I'm the only one actually standing up and saying the war in Libya was a mistake. The bombing of Assad would make ISIS stronger. The arms to the Islamic rebels would make ISIS stronger. So I'm really the one standing up to President Obama, and these people are essentially the lapdogs for President Obama, and I think they're sensitive about that.
So I immediately said, guys, we have got to call Senator John McCain. He's here. Senator, lapdog, what do you think?
Well, one of my colleagues said today, he said, yes, McCain and Graham are are lapdogs, are a couple of Doberman pinchers. You know, I put it this way. Senator Paul is the worst possible candidate of the 20 or so that are running on the most important issue, which is national security. And talking about being wrong, in 2007, he said it would be ridiculous to call Iran a threat to the United States national security. Last summer, he publicly doubted whether ISIS was a threat to the United States national security. The list goes on and on. In 2011, he proposed a budget that would have cut defense by 30%. 2011 budget would have eliminated all foreign assistance to Israel. He said Iran isn't a threat to Israel. The record is very clear that he simply does not have an understanding about the needs and the threats of United States national security.
So there were so many parts of that I love. First of all, yeah, I was speaking to my buddy, and he said, sure, you're lapdogs. You're like Doberman pinchers. So, in other words, you are a lapdog. You're like, yeah, we're dogs. We're just this particular breed of dog, which sometimes is not very nice, but oftentimes is nice. Why would you say that? You make yourself look so silly. It's like, oh, yeah, we're lapdogs, but we're like pit bulls. And pit bulls are perfectly lovely to their owners. Come on, John, how stupid are you? That brain is just not firing. He's like, yeah, we are lapdogs, but we're this kind of breed. Notice he totally sidestepped what Rand Paul said. Rand Paul was like, here's why you're a lapdog of President Obama. He was for intervention in Libya. So were you. I was against it. Here's another reason why. He was for intervention in Syria to go after Assad. So are you, old man! So what do you mean? You agree with him. This is why you're a lapdog. On these different policies, you guys agree. He just totally sidesteps that. Why? Because he doesn't have a response. Because Rand Paul is right. And then also remember, at least Obama kind of wised up at the end of the Syria thing, because at first when he was talking about, we need to go in there to get Assad, as soon as he realized, like, oh, the people fighting Assad are ISIS and al-Nusra, which is the al-Qaeda affiliate in the region. They're the strongest force. He kind of backed off of it, right? What did John McCain do? He was like, fuck it. Let's just attack ISIS and al-Nusra too. So you want to get involved in Syria and just bomb everybody. You want to get involved in this conflict that has nothing to do with us and start bombing both sides. What an idiot you are. And then later on, when, hatred of America becomes even stronger in that region, what would he say? Who could have seen that coming? It's so amazing. They hate us because they hate us. They hate us because they're religious fanatics, not because of anything we did, like bombed both sides of the war and probably killed their friends and families. He's just a dense guy, man. John McCain is one of those guys. It was a while back that Mother Jones put together like a list of all of the interventions he was for. Basically, you name the place, he's for an intervention. It's just all these different, any place that's been somewhat of a political issue in the past 20 years, he's wanted to intervene. Even in Ukraine right now, he's like casually spoken about, we should deploy some troops to Ukraine to get involved in that Ukraine-Russia conflict. So you're casually proposing what you don't even realize is the beginning of World War III. And meanwhile, again, he's going after Rand Paul for not understanding foreign policy. And notice he went issue for issue, trying to mock Rand Paul. He's like, yeah, look at how wrong Rand Paul is on this stuff. For example, he says Iran is not a threat. they're not. I mean, what do they spend on their military budget? 1% of what the United States of America spends? And what, you're afraid they're going to invade and take over Toledo, Ohio? What are you saying? What, they're a threat? They're really a threat. Calm yourself, man. Wait, this is the same kind of bullshit that went on with Iraq. Oh my God, they did 9/11. No, they didn't. Oh, well, then they have weapons of mass destruction. No, they don't. Yeah, they do, and they're going to attack us with it? No, they won't. None of the fear-mongering was true about Iraq, and now they want us to believe it for Iran. I mean, our military is so much larger than theirs, and they know they'd get blown to smithereens if they did anything. If they hurt a hair on the head of America or a hair on the head of Israel, they know what's going to happen. So when they talk tough, it's really like, what they're really saying is, please don't attack us. Oh, don't attack us. So Rand Paul is right when he says that, but you're mocking him. And then he says, well, Rand Paul thinks ISIS isn't a threat to Homeland Security. They're not. Even our own intelligence officials have said that. Even they're like, yeah, I mean, ISIS is fucking shit up in the Middle East right now, but there's zero evidence that they're, I mean, what do you think they set up a cell in Wyoming? The fuck are you saying? Of course they're not a threat to Homeland Security. And then he says, well, Rand Paul wants to eliminate assistance to Israel. So do the American people. Look, Israel, they have a decent amount of money. They're doing all right on their own. They don't need us to give them billions of dollars. I mean, get the fuck out of here, man. You can be somebody, and Rand Paul this is 100% the page that Rand Paul is on. He believes in Israel, and he is on their side, so to speak, but he just doesn't want U.S. tax dollars going to them. To act like that's outrageous. See, that's the thing. John McCain is so far removed from the opinions of the American people because he's so deep in that Washington bubble that he, like, casually assumes that the opinions of his defense contractor buddies are the opinions of Steve in Atlanta, Georgia. But they're not. They're not, man. So John McCain, in typical fashion, making an ass of himself here. And remember, all this talk about, Rand Paul being a super lib on foreign policy. No, I wish it was the case that he really was a super lib on foreign policy. He's not. We keep discussing how just recently he proposed a $190 billion increase to military spending. So all your talking points are outdated. I wish that all the things that you said he stands for, that he did stand for them, but he doesn't. So wakey, wakey, update yourself. But of course you're not, because you're John McCain, you're a Republican, and you don't believe in facts.